Expressed on WLAF TV 12 do not necessarily reflect those of the staff, management, ownership, or advertisers of WLAF TV 12, 1450 WLAF Radio, FM 100.9, or 1450WLAF.com.
All right, here we are. We're on, Honeybee?
Yep.
All right. I'm Jerry Chadwell. This is Straight Talk Live, brought to you by the Polygraph News. It's good to be back. I can tell you that. I missed last week. I got my sidekick with me. It's good to have my sidekick back. He's got several issues he wants to talk about. I was out of town last week, and I'll tell you, I'm glad to be back in the seat. So, me and my wife were out of town. We were on vacation. It'd been planned for some time. There's nothing we can do about it. First thing I wanted to start off with, I wanted to tell my last memory of Mike Sterrett. Mike Sterrett was a good friend to everybody. We all know that, and a lot of good things have been said about Mike. But the Shop with a Cop program, Mike was just real proud of that. I hate that we were out of town and we couldn't be there for the visitation or the funeral procession. We were out of the country. But I went up to the Shop with the Cop in December. Mike was running around there orchestrating the thing, and he had kids he was working with, and we were standing there talking for a little while. And one of the things Mike was so excited about was he looked and he told me, he said, Jerry, he said, it's been unbelievable, the response from the citizens this year, the money that was given for the program. And he said, we've taken in way more money, if I remember right, he said more than they have ever taken in. And he was just excited about it, folks. And he said that, he had somebody come up that night, Jim, and gave him some extra money. And I asked him, I said, Mike, I said, what are you going to do, put it in the fund for next year? He said, oh, no. He said, we're going to go find some more kids. He said, we're going to get some more kids in here. He said, every bit of money we raise this year, we're going to spend it this year. We're going to go get some more kids. He said, the program was blessed that you folks, the citizens, chipped in and made that program work. And Mike was just, he was just ecstatic about it, and he was ecstatic about the thought of being able to help, a bunch more kids. And I think I talked to him, just in passing a couple of times after that. But that night was just, he was just. I wished I'd have taken a picture, but I didn't. But he was just excited about being able to help so many children that without that program and without you folks, the citizens, responding the way you did, wouldn't have got to have the things that program brought them. And I just wanted to share my last good memory with Mike, because he was his friend to me, like he was to all of you. And and that's just I won't rehash all that things that's been said already, but he truly is going to be an officer and a person that's going to be missed. And in my household, it was a very sad time. So I just wanted to share that, because the Shop with Cop program, hopefully somebody will take that up, and it'll be continue to go on as successful as what Mike had it. But I can tell you, he was just real excited about that. So, but I got my sidekick, Mr. Slusher, here with me. I haven't had him on in a while, so he's got 3 or 4 things he's going to go over with. I'm going to let him have it, and I'm sure occasionally I'll chime in. So, and we'll take calls, but let him go over his issues a little bit first, and then we'll take your calls. And here we go.
Thank you, Jerry. Our schools have a wonderful opportunity. Mr. Poston, who has distinguished himself as the director of schools, is leaving at the end of this fiscal year. The school board now has a wonderful opportunity to select a person to carry on Mr. Poston's legacy and his program of work and expand upon it. This opportunity, in my opinion, has been blown by the school board. They have come out with a set of guidelines that says that if you are not a resident of this county, that you cannot apply, that you won't be considered for the job, that you've got to be a resident of the county. For the school board members objected to that, and they finally came back and said, well, if you own a piece of property, you can apply. What relation that has to being able to be a superintendent is owning property, I don't really know what it is. Maybe someone rents. But if you're a renter, you're not equal to being a landowner. But this is not good for our county. It shows that we're not open to other ideas, that we are fearful that someone may come in from someplace else who may be outstanding, but we don't want them here. You know, they always use the example of the former superintendent, Dr. Martin. But you've got to remember, it was the school board that hired Dr. Martin, not the citizens of this county. And if you go back and you look at Dr. Martin's evaluations, he qualified, I think, his final year for a bonus. And overall, his evaluations were good. He met all of his targets. This was the school board that put him in. They elected him. We have 4 members that are trying to stand up for what's right, but it appears on the surface, and I don't know who they have under consideration, but the only reason that I can figure is why someone would want to cut down the field of opportunity, the field of choice, is that they already have someone selected. There's rumors going around and so forth, and I'm sure there's people qualified in this community. There's some good people in this community, but the way this thing has come about, it appears to me that we are going to have a what would you call it? Look through a faded glass search. In other words, we're going to go through the motions, but the product may have been predetermined. And, you know, I'd like to hear from people on that. But, you know, that goes hand in hand with the decision that the school board made a little over a year ago when they decided to get into the power generation business. We will bear the brunt of that decision for the next 13 years. It was a bad decision. They took $2 million of taxpayers' money and bonded this county for 15 years for over $2 million, and that thing is losing its shirt.
You're talking about the solar panels?
The solar panels.
The solar panel, okay.
The power generation project, the sun gods that they put on top of our school buildings.
Right.
Right now, that project so far this year has lost, out of 7 months reporting, that's through January, has missed its projections 6 months out of 7. It so far this year is making $1,245 per school. That's $24,000 that it's generated so far this year. That's a 1.2% return on your money. And it's operating at less than 100% efficiency, just like all the studies said it would, that each year its efficiency will go down. So that means next year it probably, either the school board or the county is going to have to pony up money in the shortfall, and there'll be no money going to the schools. Now that's my deduction from what I'm looking. And this report did not come from me. This report came from Mr. Marlowe. And all you have to do is take a look at the red ink. And I will say for Mr. Marlowe, he is not known for turning out sloppy work. This is a very detailed report that he's prepared, but It just gives you an indication of how the lack of forethought in the examination and being able to look down the road has blinded our school board. And not only blinded to this, but also blinded for the opportunity to bring in some new blood into the county. I was thinking, Jerry, you know, our schools get federal money.
Right.
We live on federal money. We're not a wealthy county when it comes to income in this county. And I was thinking, what if Oak Ridge, what if Clinton, what if Knoxville passed ordinance or something that says if you don't live here, you can't work here?
Right.
Well, somebody come back, wait a minute, they can't do that. That's private enterprise. They can do it if they want to, as long as they don't violate your civil rights. You know, Oak Ridge is a federally funded operation. What if they said, well, from now on, you've either got to live in Knox County or Anderson County or Roane County? Because there are 3 contiguous counties.
Right.
But if you live in Campbell County, you can't work here. Well, there's a lot of people that work in Campbell County. The analogy is the same. No one is going to make such a stupid rule as that. If you don't live here, you can't work here.
Right.
But our school board did. And, you know, I've got 2 school board members that I know well in District 1, Danny Wilson and Mr. Goins. They supported this, and I'm very surprised that, especially one of them who is a former teacher, he knows the importance of getting a qualified school director, and it's just bad. Then you come back and you compound that with the financial condition that our county is in. It was announced last night at the county commission meeting that the remainder of A&S Steel is leaving. The drafting, all those departments are leaving also. That throws another, I think it's 65 jobs
I think that was what was announced.
into the mill, and I think there was pretty close to 150. That puts, no, maybe it was 183. I can't remember.
180 something, I believe.
Yeah, 180 something. That puts it right at 250 people losing first-rate quality jobs. But we're trying to tell the outside world, hey, come to Campbell County. We're a good place to live and work, but you don't apply for certain jobs here because we're reserving those for certain people. That's a dangerous precedent. I just read over the weekend where Morgan County is going out on a search for a new director of schools, and they put in to their ad, the selected applicant or candidate must agree to live in the county if they are selected. Well, that's beautiful. Why wouldn't you want your director of schools living in the county when they're serving? But no, we said, if you don't live here, you can't work here. Man, you've just cut practically everybody out.
You know, in my thinking on that is, why would you cut off your field of applicants? There may be a super applicant out there somewhere that would like to come here and help out our school system. I don't know for that for certain. I'm just saying hypothetically, there might be somebody out there that's just a really good qualified candidate that's not going to apply for the job because they don't live here.
You learn from others. You are not a self-generating fountain of knowledge. You don't create everything. You learn. We go back to the beginning of time to where we have now, and we develop. And how do we do that? We learn from others, we teach each other, and so forth. And I tell you, with the kind of attitude that our school board has developed, it does not speak well for us welcoming others to come into our county and help us in our time of need. We are in desperate trouble over losing A&S Steel and Trail Manor.
It's going to be bad.
It's going to hurt. It's so bad that if my understanding of what Mayor Morton said last night is that the budget is on track And I asked someone, does that mean we won't have a tax increase? And he said to me, yes, I think that's what he said, that there won't be a tax increase this year. So hopefully that will work out. But
Well, I think Mr. Marlowe last year, didn't he already kind of pre-project that there was going to be about a 21-cent tax increase?
I think it's 21, 22 cents
Somewhere
that
like
we were
that.
going to be in the hole. So evidently the mayor's been meeting with him, I guess. But I kind of took it that there won't be a tax increase. Surely they won't have a tax increase with all these people laid off. See, it's not only the people that get laid off. For every dollar that those workers pull in, that spreads anywhere from around $7 to $10 out in the community. That $7 to $10 also multiplies. That spigot is going to be cut off. What are you talking about, a $20 million payroll? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either.
Probably a $20 million, $25 million payroll that's all of a sudden going to be cut off. People are going to become delinquent on their property taxes. People aren't going to be able to spend like they have been. It's a serious, serious blow to this community. Another thing that happened of interest last night, it appears that Mr. Marlowe is catching a lot of flack on his change orders on the county jail. As you know, they are now projecting, contrary to what Mayor Baird said, that the jail would be open September the 1st of last year. They're now projecting that the Rusty Oric Campbell County Jail State Prison / Hilton is going to open on April the 28th of this year. But already now it appears that there's a lot of
That may be in
questions about, not only in jeopardy, question about these change orders that have been signed without the commission approving them.
Right.
And haven't been kept informed about what's going on. You remember last year, Jerry, I talked about at the time last summer, there had been 195 RFIs, that's requests for information, and that one of the contractors, or two or three of them, had complained that it would take them up to 6 months to get them an answer. I can tell you, there is no contractor on earth that can take 4 years to build a 2-year job and come out of it financially in shape.
Right.
It just does not happen. And that contractor, as far as I know, from what I've seen, has performed well.
Yeah.
It's just there's been one boo-boo after another.
And design flaws.
It appears, change orders come about several different ways. One is the owner may want to change. They may want to say, well, I want this room to accommodate 12 instead of 6, so you got to move this wall, this wall, this wall. The owner pays for it.
Right.
Another one is that, say the contractor goes in and constructs something that's not in accordance with the plans and specifications. He's got to go back and correct it. He's got to eat it.
Mm-hmm.
That's his baby. Now, and the architect, if they make a mistake in the plans and specifications, they're supposed to eat it.
Right.
We've eaten several $100,000 worth of change orders. What mistake did we make?
Right. Well,
We didn't design the building.
the mistake we made, I'm going to say this, is that our desire to use one certain architect over, it kind of goes back to this deal about if you're going to be the director of schools, you got to live here. Well, when they were working on getting the architect for that building, there was a great desire to use one architect, even though that architect admitted they had never designed a jail before. And they gave that contract to this architect, and he had to go out and subcontract the design of the jail to somebody else. He didn't even do it, is my understanding. He let somebody else do it. Is that right?
He had a consultant
Okay.
that was an expert in jail design. What involvement they had, I don't know, because I don't recall the architect ever himself presenting the final plans and specifications, the documents that were bid. I don't ever recall him personally ever submitting these to the commission for approval.
Right.
I know Jeff Marlowe brought them, and they just kind of, you got a stack of plans like that, and
Right.
just kind of flipping through them.
And they don't know what to, you're on the air?
Hey,
Hey,
why didn't they build that cell? Why didn't they build up?
what do you mean, why didn't they build up?
In other words, build it 2, 3 stories.
It is.
Huh?
Well, the jail part itself is not, is it? The jail part itself is.
What I'm talking about, like you got the courthouse, you got first floor and then the second floor.
Right.
That's what I'm talking about with the jail. Why didn't they do that instead of spreading it out like they did?
Well, that goes back to, like I said, they had a desire to use this one architect who had never built a jail before, but they wanted this one person, and they gave the contract to this one person, and apparently initially the jail committee, headed up by Rusty Orick, approved these plans. I'm going to assume at some point in time the whole commission approved the plans.
Well,
But the jail committee does it first. So, but all these change orders, I'm not sure all of those came before the commission.
No.
And that's the problem. We've got a commissioner now, Ralph Davis, out of the 5th District. And I think out of the 2nd District, Commissioner Lonnie Weldon, is helping him. And they're trying to fight all these change orders and the way this thing's done. I think they had was it a $150,000 change order that they were wanting to get done Monday night, and they fought this thing, and they didn't even bring it up.
I think the mayor, frankly, appears to be on board with the commissioners. He has questions too, but evidently in the past, and from what I've learned, is that these change orders are handled as an administrative matter by the director of finance and the mayor.
And the mayor, yeah.
Now, the owner of the building is the county commission, which represents the citizens. So here it is, the owner of a building has entered into a contract for $11-12 million, and Marlowe has evidently told them that they have no authority to approve or disapprove change orders. That's his baby.
I heard him say it.
And it appears that there's a power play going on.
Yeah. All right, let me ask, are you in construction?
No.
You're not? Okay, I was just curious, because I don't know how easy or difficult it would be to build that jail up like you're talking about. Now, I do know that, the courtrooms and all that, aren't they on the 2nd floor? The jail's on the bottom, and the new courtrooms, which are going to be very nice. If you go get down and look at them, they're going to be nice. They're on the 2nd floor.
See, Commissioner Bob Walden presented.
Start with building the jail up.
That jail should have never been built where it is, because
They'd have more parking space than all of them. They ain't gonna have much parking space now the way they're doing.
no, that jail should have been built out in the industrial park. The way they build it right now, they have built it smack dab in the middle of a residential neighborhood. And as a matter of fact, one of the residents there, Mrs. Leach, came before the board and presented what appeared to me to be a very reasonable request. She wasn't trying to kite the expenses or anything, but it was quite reasonable of the damage that's been done to her property during construction, and she's blaming the contractor. Well, it's not the contractor's fault. They asked him to build a jail in the middle of a residential neighborhood.
Right.
That's a fallout of construction. And instead of going ahead and paying her, they're going to probably let this thing go to litigation. It's going to cost the county a lot of money, and the county's going to lose.
Where is the industrial park you're talking about?
It's out towards Cove Lake.
Out towards Cove Lake.
No,
Up around the armory up there.
around the armory. Is
Yeah.
that where you're talking about? Yeah.
Yeah.
You're talking about the old random building?
Well, not necessarily that building, but up in that area.
Yeah.
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 Well, I told you before, Jerry, he either needed to build it where I was told he needed to build it out there on the highway there, where that sex store is, out in there.
Oh, up there at the 141 exit?
Yeah, the old cold, whatever you call it, Cold Town or something.
Cold Town, right.
Right. They needed to build a good jail there, see? Have a big fence around it and everything.
Yeah, that probably wouldn't have been a bad place. There's some good land up there. They could have done that.
Yeah, and plus they could have had a courtroom built there and have the judges come there when they have court.
Well, it was real interesting to sit there last night as now these complaints are bubbling to the top about the jail, and I think there's going to be litigation. Frankly, there'd probably be some mediation
From the contractor.
Yeah,
When they started building this jail that they got, they said that the way they're building it is going to hold a lot of people. Well, I've heard that within the floor and everything.
It's going to what you broke up there. You heard what?
I said I heard that that jail that they built that Bobby's in now.
Yeah.
When they built it, it was supposed to hold a lot of people. Well, you've got people in the floor and everything. They say.
Oh, you're talking about the one they're in now.
yeah.
Yeah.
It only added, 90 spaces over what they had?
93, 96.
Over what they had. And it's way overcrowded. There's no question. And I think the projection is the new jail, when it opens,
Yeah.
within 6 months, it's going to be overcrowded.
Yeah.
So,
Build a new jail and a bigger jail. Seems like the people get more crazy to where they can go to jail.
Well, if you go down and you look at the building, you'll see something that tells you that the jail part of it really is an afterthought. As a matter of fact, they had to go back in and do a change order of $450,000 because the architect didn't make the sales large enough for two people, even though that's what was originally part of a bonded amendment. I mean,
Yeah.
I've never seen a project move like this one has not moved.
this thing's been a debacle from the beginning.
From day one.
From day one.
And I really hope that
And we're going to be paying for it for a long time.
that the person that really took a personal interest in it, and as he stated at a board meeting, he is proud to have his name attached to it, and that's Mr. Rusty Orick. I hope he's proud of this by the time that this thing is all said and done, because he'll be into his next term.
Yeah.
All
All right, fellas. We'll see you.
Thank you, buddy.
So,
You know what I was thinking? I don't know where my sign went with the phone numbers. So, hopefully you all know the phone numbers. I had a sign up there that had the phone numbers on it, and I don't know where it went. So, but yeah, what is that jail up to now? Probably about 15 million.
well, with the bonded indebtedness, I think they're talking. William Baird used a figure of 12.5 million, and by the time you throw the debt on top of that, I don't know,
16,
15, 16 million dollars. The bond will have been
And we usually do that over, 21, 22 years?
20% paid off by the time it's open. It's been 4 years.
They've been paying on it already. So,
I think the Twin Towers maybe might have been rebuilt quicker than that. I don't know.
but they've got, we've been down there. Mr. Slusher and I have toured the facility, and I think we're going to go again, hopefully pretty soon, and look at it again. The courtrooms are going to be pretty nice. Now, they're going to be a little smaller, aren't they?
They're smaller.
Somebody told me the courtrooms are actually a little smaller than what they used to be, but they're going to be pretty nice. And there's a lot of safety features built into the new courtrooms that weren't in the old building. So,
But just like in the jail area, they're now having to go back the thing is filled with blind spots, which means they've got to have people walking the floor all the time. And now they've had to go back and change the tinting on the glass because it cut down on the vision.
It cut down. I saw that. I was going to
And-
bring that up. I saw that in an article. That they had to change some of the windows because they discovered they couldn't see. So that, I mean, and that's an architect's design, folks. That's not just somebody deciding we want these windows. That's an architectural design.
It appears that tower, watchtower that they put in the center of the jail was another afterthought. It seems to me that should have been the start of the design and everything else built around it, but it appears that they just went in and stuck it in one side of the room.
Right.
I'm surprised Rusty didn't catch that. As much detail and input he's had in this
Right.
project.
Now here's this is a statement on WLAF's website, folks. There's an article on here that I think Charlotte did this. I think Charlotte did. It might have been Boomer. I don't know. It doesn't say. But it says county officials have finally worked out an agreement with the architect and the contractor that includes some final corrections to the heating and air system and replacement of some tinted windows that were originally designed but turned out to be inadequate because they obscure a clear view of the cell block from the guard tower. How do you get this far along and discover that you got problems with your air conditioning system?
Once a project's 60 to 70% complete, there should be no further change orders unless you've got a wad of money left that's not committed and you want to add something that really makes it super nice. But when you hit 60 to 70% of completion in a building, there should be no further change orders.
Right.
Because shop drawings are complete.
Right.
But they're still, this thing is supposed to be complete essentially, and they're still popping change orders.
is saying there's a problem with the air conditioning system. Still, at this late a date, still a problem with the design of the air conditioning system. Now let me read you another statement here. Commissioner Ralph Davis criticized the need for the county to approve any change orders without commission approval, even after Mayor Morton explained that change order has not been approved and cannot be approved unless the commission agrees to the budget amendment. Here's what they do, folks. Here's how Jeff Marlowe slides this through on these change orders. He doesn't necessarily call it a change order. He says, we've got to approve this budget amendment. He comes in there and explains to them, and has for years, we've got no choice but to do this. At this point, if we're going to fix this problem, this is the way it's explained. I've heard it over and over and over. When they do bring these before the commission, they don't call them change orders. They call them just budget amendments so that we can fix these problems that's going on with the jail. And it's from the finance director, it's put to the commissioner saying, we've really got no choice but to do this. If we don't do it, we're not going to be able to finish the product. So it puts the commissioners on the spot. Well, Mr. Commissioner Davis and Commissioner Weldon they're not going to be satisfied with that anymore. They're going to fight this tooth and toenail. It appears, especially Commissioner Davis, that they're just they're not just going to allow this to just kind of walk in there, be thrown down at them on the last second, and say, we've got to do this. We don't have any choice, And folks, that's cost the Campbell County millions of dollars over the last several years.
The White Bridge Park.
Oh, the White Bridge Park. Yeah, when you take a $230,000 contract and, through change orders and budget amendments, okay, as opposed to calling them change orders, budget amendments that turn out to be change orders, and you turn that into a $715,000 contract without rebidding that and letting somebody else have a shot at it. That's how we get into these messes that we're in. And that's from our finance director going down there and just kind of throwing it down at the commission's feet and saying, look, you got no choice. This has got to be done. We don't have any choice. And and it just runs the county's debt further and further and further when, some of these things should be taken care of up front. Again, how do you get 4 years into a project, supposedly going to open in 2 months, 3 months, and have to come in with a $150,000 change order for the air conditioning system?
Let me tell you what happens. What's going to happen on this change order now? To bring this change order about, when they start on it, they're going to have to go in and tear out, just like they did when they enlarged the jail cells. They're going to have to tear out completed, finished work.
Right.
They're going to have to order new glass, and the glass they have is going to be thrown in the trash bin.
It's going to be destroyed.
In other words, we pay twice. Why? This project is close. It's supposed to be in closeout. Do you know how long it takes to get specialty glass made, delivered, and installed? And then you have to do shop drawings before that. They have to meet. We're talking about maximum security prisoners, the whole 9 yards. You can't just put any kind of glass up there.
Right.
It's specialty glass. We have to pay for that jail twice, 2 times.
A lot of stuff having to be paid for twice.
Now, I'm told, I talked to Mr. Davis, and he said that Jeff Marlowe announced that they pay not only the cost of the change order, but they also pay 25% in addition. I've never heard of a change order costing more than the actual cost and 10% overhead and profit. So we're going to see who wins this little contest. And I think we've got some commissioners. And we appear to have a commission that's really interested this time. They don't appear to be worried about getting back across the mountain in time to beat the cold weather,
right,
like the 3 from Jellicoe did in the last term. They appear to be interested, and hopefully they're going to be able to carry some things out. But I've watched Mr. Marlowe in action. And generally he tells them they can't do this, and they take it for what it is. But I encourage them to question him. And if they are the owners of this project on our behalf, and there is no way that I would let an underling, which Mr. Marlowe is, he's an underling.
He's an employee.
He's an employee of the county commission. There is no way that I would let him sign change orders in my name, based upon past track records, and not even inform the county commission of what the change order is all about.
Right.
Or why, and who's going to pay for it. I reckon the county's going to have to pay.
Well, and one thing you mentioned to me when we were talking before we came on, when they come up with these change orders for this, let's say this one is $150,000. Right here, it's on the article, WLAF.1450WLAF.com. Go read it, folks. It's right here in the article. And this article is based upon a person that was actually at the meeting. $150,000 change order, okay? One problem with that, one fallacy of that change order is Mr. Marlowe is the one sitting there telling them you have to do this. Now, he wasn't at the meeting the other day, so I assume next Monday he's going to tell them you have to do this. Well, I think it was Mr. Davis or somebody suggested, why don't we have the architect in here explaining to us why we need to change $150,000 worth?
I haven't seen the architect at a county commission meeting since day one.
Since they got the bid. And all these, Mayor Baird, let's go back to Mayor Baird last summer. When he was on here campaigning for his job again, he said there had been $1 million worth of change orders,
That's
right?
what he said.
Not one time during all that $1 million worth of change orders was the architect at the county commission meeting explaining to them why we needed to do $1 million worth of change orders. There were a bunch of different change orders that added up to that amount. But if you're going to approve $150,000 worth of change orders, Mr. Marlowe is not the one that should be down there explaining this is why we need to do this. That architect should be down there explaining this is why we need to do $150,000 worth of change orders. This stuff's got to stop, folks. And it appears Mr. Davis, Commissioner Davis out of the 5th District, along with Commissioner Weldon out of the 2nd District, have taken the lead on this, trying to get this business stopped so that this county can get back on some solid footing financially.
You know, I just had a thought. Maybe if they'd gone out and built the jail like they did the solar system,
Yeah,
it would be completed before
before it got approved.
before it got approved.
You know, he's
That
referring.
no one knew about.
A lot of the solar panels were installed before the job was ever approved by anybody.
Boy, I'd like to be an examining attorney of the school board on that one.
Yeah, so, and of course, you go back and, it's been said many times, nobody will step up and say they were the one told the company that installed the solar panels, you can go ahead and put them on the buildings.
Yeah.
Apparently nobody ever approved that. They just went and did it. So, that's according to people you talk to within the government. So,
And so you've got to approve this. Why have we got to approve this? Well, you've already got them.
they're already installed. Yeah, and that goes back to that one commissioner that changed his vote. Still, if he hadn't changed his vote, somebody would be in jail. Somebody would be in jail. But folks, the reason Mr. Slusher brought this up again is because they're down there trying to do it again. On the change orders. It doesn't matter what job. We had a job up in Jellicoe recently that got canceled because there was a change order put in. And apparently Mayor Morton's feeling some heat from some citizens over these change orders, and what it's costing the county over these change orders, and possibly whether they're actually verifiable, whether they actually need to be done.
Let me give an example of how short-sighted politicians can be. They're trying to help the A&S Steel people. Some of them will not be able to get other employment until they get their GED. They're missing their GED. And today, if you don't have a high school diploma, getting a skilled job is very, very difficult. Getting a skilled job, period, is difficult.
It's difficult.
And not having a GED, just shuts the door. So they appealed for A&S Steel, refused to pay for GED classes for some of these people out of work. Well, they're running around scratching their heads. Well, who should pay for this? Who should pay for this? We've got a $70 million budget. $70 million.
Mm-hmm.
Why couldn't someone have said, I move, we pay it? Where are we going to get it? Take it out of the fund balance. Same place you're paying for that jail. It's coming out of the fund balance.
Well, not only that, if I understand it right, the commissioners voted several months ago not to touch their discretionary money. Basically, that's re-election money that comes from the taxpayers. Why not take I think it's only about $1,600 they need. Why not take that out of the discretionary funds?
Well, I don't know whether they have even, Jerry, $1,500
to help these citizens
to help citizens in a time of need, to give them reassurance that they can have GED classes. I don't even remember what they finally decided on it.
It doesn't say here that they ever did decide on it.
I'm not certain, but why couldn't somebody just said, I move, we pay it?
Yeah, so it'll come up at the meeting next week.
It's just like Miss Leach, damage to her property. Instead of saying, Ms. Leach, don't worry, we'll take care of it.
Yeah, it's that's only $6,000. You're on the air? Hey.
I think we've already got a free GED program down at the Tennessee Technology Center.
I was thinking that there was a program
They
somewhere.
run ads. They've been down there for years.
Have they?
And it's free. So what's all this bull about spending money on another GED program when we already got one?
Well, I was thinking within our school system, don't we have an adult education course?
There's one, I think, down at the Technology Center. You've got to be over 16 or either over 18 before you can attend.
Okay.
Because by law, they want those butts and seats in the county school system.
But according to this, what it's saying is
there is a fee.
If a kid drops out, or an adult who dropped out of school to get married, start a family, or somebody who works for A&S, they need a GED to go get another job.
Right.
Have GED every county has them.
I'm going to assume
For 45 years.
I'm going to assume that evidently what they are offering was not compatible with what the school offers. Now, now that you bring it up, I understand your question. But what got me is that for 21 employees, they could not see beyond the end of their nose and say, is that all it is? $1,500? Now that
they don't need $1,500. They don't need.
Well, I don't know.
What they're saying, the 15.
Already a GED program, and it's already funded. The teachers are already paid, and for them to be coming up for more money, this wouldn't be an ORIC project, would it?
No, I think though. I think, Mr. Kitts, that this is a fast track GED.
Well, look, a GED program with a curriculum is pretty much standard. I mean, it's not like there's a quickie course that you can take for the GED, and I mean, there's a set curriculum, and the test is pretty standard. I mean, it's not like they can get special tests. They will have to go through the regular testing to get a GED. All this is part of the state education department. It's controlled by them. It's funded by them. It's managed by them. And there's federal funds involved as well.
Here, let me read this to you. I've got a county commissioner just texted me a message, and it's what I thought I was reading on here. It kind of confirms the GED program, like you said, is free. Okay, but there is a fee that has to be paid to take the test. And when Mr. Gunter he came and talked to the county commission, that's what he was talking about. The classes are available, but there is a $75 fee per person that has to be paid to take the test. And with 21 of them, it's $1,575. And he was just asking the county commission to pony that up. Well, I mean, they've wasted more than that on several other issues. If you're going to pay $75 to help 21 citizens, the classes are there. You're right. Okay. They were just asking for help on the fee to take the test.
Jerry, what about all these other people that go take the test? If we're going to pay for one, we need to pay for all. Government's supposed to be based on equality. If we're going to pay for 21 people from A and S, then we should pay for everybody to take that test.
Well, I mean, you can go further than that and say, hey, these people have been working down there. Why haven't they done this while they've been working? That was one of my first thought was, why haven't they gone ahead and improved their educational situation while they've been working?
Well, my point is that
take a little self-responsibility. You know what I mean?
That this county has a track record of straining at a gnat and swallowing a camel. They'll go spend $2 million on the solar system, but they can't come up with $1,500 to pay for GED tests. I mean, it wasn't the point of whether they paid for them or not. It was to the point that it was a major problem for them to come up with $1,500.
Well,
a $150,000 change order paying for work that's already been done once, that's no problem.
No problem.
But we can't come up with $1,500.
It all boils down to the fact that Marlowe's not getting part of that GED money, see?
Yeah.
Don't be so sure about that.
No, now you can say that if you want to. I'm not going to say it. And folks, these are just opinions. These are just opinions we're giving you.
Jeff Marlowe has nothing to do with the GED.
Another point about your wonderful presentation on the 6-4 vote by the school board to restrict selecting a superintendent from the county. Now, the people should rise up, and if they can only be from Campbell County, then we should go back to electing them.
Right.
Well, that's, the county doesn't decide that, the state legislature decides that.
Well, the county can petition for that,
The county can petition it,
and if we're going to go to that, then we should go to that.
but that's a,
We're going to restrict it to people who have to reside here,
yeah.
then we should go back to electing them. And let the people decide instead of a small committee.
I think there's a lot of people that agree with you on that.
You notice the people who messed up the jail project and the people who are messing up our selection of a qualified school superintendent, or having it open for qualified school superintendents all over the country to apply, is from the same family. In fact, I think they're brothers. They're leading both projects, and they're both of them are involved in leading this county down a primrose path toward financial destruction, financial and educational destruction. But anyway, hey, great show, great presentation of your point. Really appreciate you guys.
Thank you, buddy. So, yeah,
Yeah, I want to express, Mr. Marlowe has no connection with this GED thing.
not that we know of.
No.
Not that we know of. Don't, you know, but, you know, there is, I mean, if we can basically throw away $2 million.
Yeah, some guys.
And, you know, that was hardly even debated.
No.
That was hardly even debated, you know.
It was done before it ever came up.
Yeah, you know, a lot of the panels were on the building before it ever even got discussed about, you know. And that's a fact. That's a proven fact. Tom Hatmaker still has the pictures of the solar panels installed before it was ever even discussed in at the county commission meeting. You know, they're there. So, I mean, if you can go ahead and just commit yourself to $2 million, how hard is it to commit yourself to $1,575 to help out 21 people here that are losing their jobs, losing their livelihood? You know, I don't know what kind of income they had down there or not. I'm assuming A&S still paid a decent wage. You know,
We have trucking companies in this county that haul for A&S Steel.
yeah,
They're going to lose that business.
they're going to lose that business. You know, so
We have suppliers of A&S Steel. They're going to lose that business.
right.
It's going to domino right down through the community.
Trickle down.
Yeah,
Trickle down.
domino across.
That's trickle down economics, folks. So,
But it's going to impact everybody. It's going to raise the free lunch program, subsidized lunches. These were good paying jobs.
yeah.
Now, I know that the county commission right now is considering the industrial recruitment aspect. And you know, if that thing were installed today, it would still be years down the road before the real big benefits of that program start paying off.
Probably at least 4 years.
Yeah, it takes years.
Yeah.
But the first thing that we're going to have to do as citizens is we're going to have to get our elected officials out of that little corner that they live in, and they know no one except their little cronies, and let them realize that there's people outside this county line that are available and can help us. We need help. I've sat here for the last 10 years. I've sat and I've watched one after another of industries leaving this county, and they don't come back once they're gone. You'll never get them back.
Right. And have we had anything open?
Any hopes of ever getting A&S Steel back here is over.
Mm-hmm.
Why didn't someone know about this? You know, I noticed a couple of months ago that it didn't seem like they were working extra shifts down there like they normally did. And I mentioned it to my wife. I said, there's something going on there. Well, sure enough, a couple of months later, they let the shoe drop. Do you know that Knoxville is counted as the 99th best economy in the world. Not in the nation, in the world. Out of 300 of micro economies, the Knoxville area is rated number 99. I think Nashville is rated number 145 or something like that. And the next one on the list is Memphis, and it comes in somewhere around 239. Of course, you get down to Memphis, that's kind of like another world to someone from East Tennessee, or at least it is to me. But, we've got 3 cities in this state that rank in the top 300 in the world for their macro economies.
Surely Chattanooga's in there somewhere.
No, Chattanooga's not in it.
No.
Well, they're outside the 300, and you know what's going on in Chattanooga. It's a boom town.
It's booming.
Knoxville never got hurt that bad during the recent Great Recession, which I really think was a depression. The recession that we never cut the budget in, by the way, and we continued to hire people. Boy, is that coming home to roost. But
yeah.
Those are just some of my thoughts, Jerry. I think everyone should pray for this county. We need to pray for our leaders. We need people that are elected to do jobs to stand up and start doing their job. If we're going to get help, we're going to help ourselves. There's no question.
Right.
And we're going to have to ask for help.
Well, and thanks to at least 2 commissioners, it's not business as usual down there the way it's been going for the last long time. And I'll give credit to that to Mr. Davis and Mr. Weldon.
Well, they sure made one commissioner. It's been the chief jockey on this Campbell County Justice Center wiggle last night. He was very defensive.
So, but folks, I don't know. We'll go. Mr. Slusher and I will go down and look at the jail in the next week or two, the construction, and try to get to it and maybe report back to you what is going on and see what the projected is. But for another $150,000, the big point is, it was brought up to the county commission, another $150,000 change order this late into the game, changing $150,000 worth of air conditioning and some windows. It just don't make sense. And again, I think did Mr. Davis ask for the architect to be there at the next meeting? Or is he going to?
I think he's planning.
You talked to Mr. Davis today, didn't you?
Yeah, but I don't know what Mr. Davis is going to handle.
Somewhere I heard that Mr. Davis is thinking, that we need to get the architect to come to the meeting and explain the necessity for these change orders. And folks, that should have been going on all along. When you have over $1 million worth of change orders and nobody's come down there and explained why it needs to be done, except for Mr. Marlowe saying, basically telling them, you've got to do this. We can't go any further with this project. You have to do this, and put it at the commissioners that way. Well, the commissioners are sitting there saying, well, we can't just stop the project. We got to go on with it.
I will say this is the first time since I've been attending the meetings that I have seen a proactive 3rd District Commissioner, and that's Mr. Ralph Davis. Fifth District, I'm sorry. The first time I've ever seen one be actually proactive and take a lead on something.
Right.
And I think that's a real bright spot for the county, is that the people over in the 5th District do care.
How long we got, honeybee?
Less than 20 seconds.
Okay, less than 20 seconds, folks. We appreciate you. We're glad to be back in the saddle. We're going to get some more information, and we'll see you next week.
Positions or strategies.